Hello YouTube, welcome to this video, a question and answer video. Last Saturday I invited everyone to write their questions in the description on my cancer vlog. Thank you for everyone who gave the cancer vlog a thumbs up and your messages of support. I'll be 100% honest with you guys. I've got the questions printed off and I'm going to answer them truthfully. The first question is from James Bell, my friend from Lincolnshire. What makes you happy? Spending time with my friends, my family, cigarettes, beer, and reading sci-fi, watching sci-fi, and YouTube videos. So that's what makes me happy. I've got a couple of questions from Hans Decker. What do you think of using nicotine gum to stave off the cravings in planes, buildings, and etc.? I have used nicotine gum on a plane, but it's no substitute, and unless it's a really long haul flight, and for RJ, I'd call 4 hours long haul. I would, or more, I would maybe pop one nicotine gum to help me cope with the stress, but I turn to the drink, I'll be honest. As in everyday use, I've never found it as a substitute to cigarettes as such. Yes, it gives you nicotine, but an e-cig is slightly better. His next question is, do you think unfiltered or filtered cigarettes are better for your health? I did some research and was surprised to find not everyone agrees. I think we all know the risks of smoking. There's no difference really between a filtered and unfiltered cigarette, only that filtered ones, generally the tobacco is of a less quality to an unfiltered cigarette. The main difference in my eyes is if you smoke 20 a day of those Indonesian lung fuckers, I'm talking Jorum 76s, 39 milligrams of tar, 2.4 milligrams of nicotine, etc., then it's not lung cancer itself, it's general health risks associated with smoking. You probably have a chest infection, more likely. His last question is, what is your favourite food? Fish, plain, not battered or in breadcrumbs, with a cheese sauce. Jack potato and green beans. Next lot of questions came from Cigarhub, and he's an excellent reviewer from Scotland and a good Facebook friend of mine. Are you better off financially now you smoke less? Slightly, because I'm off work at the moment. I don't get shift allowances or overtime, so I am better off, but not drastically. Have you had any other serious illnesses? No. Before this shit happened to me in September last year, I last went to the doctor in 2012. In my 49 years worth of life, I've never been in hospital more than 8 hours. I haven't had a CT scan before that date, or chest scan, and I was in reasonable nick. What do you think of Sterling cigarettes, as his brother smokes those? Not a lot. To be honest, I'd rather have a decent budget brand such as B&H Blue or Osmond's Blue for the same amount of money. Both are very smokable cigarettes. The other cigarette I hate in the UK is Pall Mall, but the European ones are good. His next question is, what cameras etc. have you used to record your videos? a mixture of Logitech webcam, an iPhone, and my Samsung phones. I've got a Samsung 6, I had a 5, and the quality on the camera is amazing. His next question is, as I'm Scottish, I have to ask, have you done anything interesting, like gone on holiday here? No, I haven't been to Scotland in my life. The furthest I've been north in my childhood was a place called Hexham, which is just outside Newcastle, and in my adult life to Derbyshire. Oh, I did make it to Manchester, but then the thought of showing me passport on the Scottish border made me come back home. Seriously though, I would like to see Scotland, as I've heard the people are friendly, even if your government, led by Nicola Sturgeon, is a complete arse. Favourite discontinued cigarette was his next question. The Davidoff did a orange ID pack a few years ago in the UK. They were very reasonably priced as well, around about £7, and they were an amazing product, which sadly has disappeared. From my childhood, I remember John Player number 6s, which were a short 70mm cigarette, which was equally good, but sadly discontinued. And his final question is, and of course the one we want to say yes to, is, do you think you're better than you were before the chemotherapy when it's done? Yes. I know my cancer's stabilised, slightly reduced. I feel during the chemotherapy, yes, I did have some bad weeks, but I'm at that point in time where I feel like I was, or I'm going to be, before I went to hospital back in September 2015. Steve Davis asked the question, do you use an e-cig? Yes. I use a blue e-cig, and I don't use it constantly because I find an e-cig, it makes you want to smoke a proper cigarette, if you get my drift. So I use mainly willpower. Next questioner, Xboxgamer. Life would be a drag if you never smoked. I have a question. I live up north in Manchester, and there's a lot of Man United fans down there. They seem to be all over the UK. He's saying, are there Man United fans in London? Yes. But personally, I hate football. The hermit, the question, I saw one of your early videos where you were smoking by the river at London Bridge, and you had 2 cigs and you were smoking a double barrel at the same time. Does this trick you into thinking you smoke getting twice as much nicotine? A little bit, yes, but I did it for the people with a smoking fetish mainly. Tim Barnett, do you believe in God? No. I'm an atheist, and I think religion is overrated and has caused a lot of wars which were unnecessary across the world. Abyss Kant asked, do you like fast food? Burger King, yes. McDonald's, no. So, yes and no. Masie didactic asks, please describe how you spend your typical Saturday. Okay, I love going to find a bargain, and to do that I go to second-hand shops and charity shops in various parts of London. I go looking mainly for sci-fi items, books, DVDs, figures, etc. And I stop off at a local pub in that area as well and have a pint or two. And that's how I spend my Saturday. Bargain hunting. Blocknot brother asked, how long are you? In height, I'm 5'10". In length, more than satisfied, thank you very much, down there. Britney Swift asked, do you think it was smoking that caused the cancer? I could have got cancer from traffic fumes. Non-smokers get cancer, even if they don't go near smokers. There's a lot of pollution out in the air that causes shit to happen to your body. Chirpy Hussain asked, do you like sport? Have you ever worked out in a gym? I detest sport. I like swimming, but I've hated doing sport, especially football. Rugby and cricket send me to sleep, and I generally drink in pubs which don't show sport in any form. Okay, Spencer Reynolds asked, can I smoke in my mum's house? Her old house was smoking, but when she moved to her bungalow, she made it no smoking. So there's a sheltered place outside, completely undercover, where I smoke there. Young Scooter 1017 is, how do you feel after not smoking for a while? Wanting another cigarette? I Smoke, You Smoke asked, will I go back to smoking 30 a day? No. It's a simple question. I will try and keep my consumption to less than 15 a day. Currently I'm on around about 7 to 8. Zaza Jones asked, do you have any worries? My worry is I want to stay strong, I want to still do a lot in my life, and I hope my health continues so I can do it. I'm going to Brighton next week, for 2 weeks. I'm going to Honest, I'm going to Bruges as well, and Amsterdam, and I know I won't be in perfect health, but to still be able to do things and not be lying in hospital or hospice being a vegetable. Alpha Potts asked, do you have a smoking fetish? Yes. I discovered I had a smoking fetish when I was at boarding school, and I'm going to tell you about my first homoerotic experience in my life story. That's in part 2 of it. With the right person, who's got to be a man obviously, I do have a smoking fetish. With anyone, no. It's got to be a special man. Now, Cigs Smoker, Aussie runt and Marlboro smoker asked me loads of questions, and I'm going to answer them next. I hope I've answered everyone else's question before I move on to these guys that sent me literally 10 questions each. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up. Cigs Smoker asked the following questions. What do you think of menthol cigarettes, and how often do you smoke them? I enjoy a good menthol cigarette. Marlboro Ice Blast is okay. I don't smoke them every day, mainly when I've got sore throat. His next question is, do you like clove Kretex cigarettes? The Indonesian ones, obviously, I do. You get them in various strengths, like in the UK and Germany you can buy Jorum cigarettes and Gudang Gandam. They're of course limited to 1mg tar, 1mg of nicotine, 10mg of tar, or you can import from cigsworld.com, a reputable website, the real Indonesian ones. full strength. Do you like flavoured cigarettes? I like the various flavours Shoreham do. It's, for instance, cherry they've done, menthol. I've had the coffee as well. And I'm not a big... I had the camel capsule which turns it into cherry flavour. I know in Europe flavoured cigarettes except menthol have been banned this year. So I'm not a massive flavoured cigarette person. Next question. Would you snog the French health minister, who's Valérie Churin, I think her name is, for hundreds of thousands of euros? No. She is an absolute bitch. Do you family watch your videos? Yes. Do you watch your own videos? Yes. Do you think tobacco will still be legal when you're 65? I hope so. I don't see them ever making it totally illegal, because it just would drive it underground and be like the prohibition of alcohol in America back in the 30s. How many cigarettes have you smoked in your lifetime? I've got no idea. I do know the following facts. From the ages of 12, when I started, till 16, put me down for 10, 15 a week. Money was, of course, restraint factor. From 16 through to 18, when I was at college, probably 6 or 7 a day. From 18 to 21, put me down for 20 a day, and from 21 through to present, to September last year, put me down for 30 a day. Since then, October 2015, put me down for 7 a day. So I hope if you do the maths, you can work it out. Do you have any worries? I've already answered that one. Do you dislike non-smokers? No, but I hate the haters. And generally, they're not always non-smokers, they're ex-smokers who want to control our lives. Can you upload some photos of yourself as a teenager, verbally smoking? I don't have any pictures of me smoking as a teenager, but as part of my life story, there are pictures of me growing up from birth till I was the present day. Do you ever get up in the middle of the night to have a cigarette? Yes. Only once, but it's a lifetime habit of mine. Do you smoke on the toilet? No. And I don't smoke in the bath or the shower either. Okay. Thanks for all your questions. Next up, Aussie Runt. Aussie Runt asked how many times I look at myself in the mirror. Generally just once in the morning to check my hair isn't having a bad hair day, and just before I go out to check it's still there. What is one other pleasure other than smoking you enjoy? Sex, beer, but I never do drugs. Next question. What amazes you? I haven't really got an answer for this one. I'm amazed how successful my YouTube channel is, that I inspired other people to make their reviews and smoking channels. And so perhaps that answers your question. Have you ever puked in a car? No. Would I do a bungee jump? No. Simple reason is I'm scared of heights. What do you have for breakfast? Porridge. What is the first thing you notice about people? Probably whether they smoke or not. If they got a cigarette in hand. Biggest regret in my life? Simple. I searched for my birth month and I found her within 10 weeks, and we had a very successful reunion in 2000. If I'd done the search in 1994 or 1995, we're both sure, and the family, it would be 99.9% certain we'd have had the same result. Her husband passed away in 1992. If you could travel anywhere in the world, where would it be and why? Before I got my deflated lung, which means I can't fly forevermore, I wish and I planned to go to America with my flatmate Peter, and also to Australia to see the Sydney Mardi Gras in 2018. It would have been amazing. Unfortunately, both places are too far to go, Australia especially. I might get to America one day, but I'd have to take the boat. Sydney Mardi Gras, I've heard it looks an incredible experience, and I'd like to do that as long as my health allows me. What's your biggest pet peeve? I don't really have one. Live and let live. I have more of this hatred towards politicians and causing the problems that you got in Syria, right, and the refugee crisis. The rules are simple. The refugees should claim asylum in the first EU country which they arrived in. They don't want to stop at Greece. They don't even want to stop in Austria or the Czech Republic. They just want to come to Germany, Sweden, where they don't respect the local laws. They campaign Calais. They don't want to stop in France. And they all want to come into the UK. Thank God we're not part of the Cigarhub agreement, which is where you can cross from one European country to the another, without showing your passport. So perhaps that's a peeve. It's more a rant. If you had one day left in the world, how would you spend it? With my family and my friends, and of course smoking and drinking beer. What will you never do? Anything involved with heights. I'm scared of heights and prefer to be nearer the ground. When was the last time you cried? Probably back in October, when I was diagnosed with secondary lung cancer of the left lung. Okay. Marlboro Smoker asked me a load of questions as well. Do your family and friends smoke? Some of my friends smoke. My mum smokes probably 20 cigarettes a year. In the summer with a pint, but she has a light Marlboro Lights menthol. She's not addicted. My sister gave up smoking. She was on about 10 cigarettes a day on the 1st of January. Her boyfriend still smokes. My other sister gave up smoking about 7 years ago. Probably 5 to be honest. And she smokes an e-cig constantly. And when I say constantly, it never leaves her right hand. My brother Darryl, he smoked till he was 20. He's now 42, and he gave up then. My other brother, James, who is 32, or is he 34? Around about that. He smokes a lot. He smokes rolling tobacco and is totally addicted. What is the most cigarettes you have ever smoked in one day? Probably around about 40 when I was in Austria. When do you have your first cigarette today? I normally get up, make a cup of tea, then have a cigarette. Before all this shit happened to me, I used to have a cigarette when I woke up, then make a cup of tea, then have another cigarette. What prompted you to try your first cigarette at the age of 12? I was bullied a lot at school, and it was my way of coping with the stress. Have you ever tried to quit smoking, and if so, how many days did you last? I've never tried to quit smoking. The longest time I've ever been without a cigarette was the time I was in hospital. I was on tubes, so I couldn't leave the ward. I was in pain, and that was 3 weeks. I used willpower. Next question. Would you date a non-smoker? Yes, as long as they weren't a hater. Do you think smoking is sexy? With the right person, yes. And Robert Pattinson is an obvious answer, who is an attractive smoker, and there are various YouTube channels who are quite sexy as well. Smoker CGN for starters. Do you dream about cigarettes? Not particularly, is the answer. They might enter my dream, but you never know what you're going to dream about before you go to bed. Would Australian plain packaging make you smoke less? No, but unfortunately, from May, France, Ireland and the UK will have similar style packaging. If an 18-year-old asked you advice whether to start smoking, what would it be? I told them there are health risks. I'd say it's highly addictive, but I'd also tell them it's highly pleasurable. And make their own mind up. They're 18. They're old enough. Do you miss the cigarette adverts in magazines and on billboards? Yes. In Germany, until later this year, you were allowed to still have cigarette adverts on billboards. Do you prefer rolling tobacco or tailor-made cigarettes? Tailor-made cigarettes, I'll be honest with you. I enjoy rollies, but at the two products, I'm more a tailor-made person. What's the longest time you can go without a cigarette? The longest I've already told you about. Now, if you're talking about every day in my state of health now, probably about 2 hours. 2 to 3 hours daytime. Would you smoke in a car with the windows closed? I don't own a car. I've never have. My mum allows smoking in hers if it's on a long journey, but insists the windows be open. But I would, if I owned a car, I would smoke with the windows closed. Can you do smoke tricks like French in hell? No. Do you believe the health warning cigarettes, and do they concern you? Who is the sexiest smoker of all time? And what do you think, what would you do if smoking was made illegal? Sexiest smoker of all time. The only one that comes to my mind is Robert Pattinson. Health warnings and pack. So, they don't alarm me anyway. They're just made by health Nazis, and smoking illegal would move to a country which still allows it. And finally, do you get hard on from smoking? Not normally. Give this video a thumbs up. Hope I've answered your questions. Any more, drop them in the description and I'll give you a written answer. Stay lit guys, and thanks for watching.